Hi guys. Sorry for this kind of disheveled appearance. It's nice to see you. I went to the pool today, so I have naturally curly hair, and so when it gets hot, it just kind of does whatever it wants to do, and I've just been running errands, so whatever. But it's been a while since I've been on here, and I feel like the last couple of videos that I've posted have been pretty serious videos, and so I thought, well, let's balance it out and do something that's kind of funny or in between, or who knows what it'll end up being. And I'm not apologizing for the deeper videos, but for the sake of balance, because that's kind of what life isn't always so serious, I figured I would get on here and post something a little bit lighter, a little bit funnier. So I have been thinking about online dating a lot lately, because that's kind of where I'm at in life, and I realized while I was dealing with some of this that some people don't know what it is. They've never had to experience this. They've never gotten the joy of experiencing this. Since the sarcasm with that, and so I thought I'd get on and talk a little bit about it, about I would like to call it a dating life, but we're going to call it an undating life, because there's a lack of dating happening, if I'm just super honest. But so anyways, in high school, I wasn't much of a dater. I had a couple of boyfriends, but I was more of like kind of a notorious talker. And I say notorious, I don't know if other people knew that's what was happening or not. I wasn't necessarily one of the popular kids, but I talked to a decent number of guys and just would figure out before we ever got to the real like dating part of it that this probably wasn't going to work out for one reason or another, that we just weren't a good match. And so we would part ways, and I'm still acquaintances with most of those people, friends on Facebook, whatever. I don't think either of us harbor any kind of ill will towards the other. It wasn't a huge thing. I had a couple of boyfriends, only one serious boyfriend towards the end of high school. Obviously, considering I'm not married, that didn't work out. And I went into college thinking that I would date a good bit. That yes, men is not necessarily what lives at college. We'll start there. But in their defense, women is not necessarily what always lives at college either. College is a growing time, and that's what I used it as. I used it as a growing and a healing time from stuff that I was realizing that I had not healed from, wounds that I still had from my childhood with my dad and that kind of stuff that I've mentioned in other videos. And so that's kind of what I use it as, learning how to survive on your own, because it's no joke. It's rough, okay? They kind of throw you to the wolves. I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding, right? All of a sudden, you are in charge of all of your laundry, both washing and drying and folding and putting away, all of the cleaning, figuring out how to live with a roommate that you're not related to and can't just yell at when you get upset. You're in charge of feeding yourself to some degree, right? What you eat, when you eat it, when you go to bed, when you do homework, classes that no one really told me were going to be substantially harder than high school. I made A's and B's in high school and never studied. Sometimes I didn't even do the reading. That was not the case in college. I had to learn how to study for basically the first time ever, and that was rough. So all of these things all at one time, you're just trying to, that first year, freshman year, you're just trying to stay afloat. You just are trying not to drown. Or at least that was my experience of freshman year of college, is trying not to drown. And I had a few crushes in college, but it typically went, oh, he's cute. Oh, he loves Jesus. Oh, he seems so caring and kind. And oh, a week later, he has a girlfriend. And so I didn't really have to deal with the, do I tell him, do I not tell him, how do I flirt with him? Because I kid you not, if I liked you, good news, in a week to 2 weeks, you're going to have a girlfriend. It's not going to be me, but you're going to have a girlfriend. I'm your good luck charm. Yay. And so that's kind of how it went for me. And so I never had one date in all of college. All 4 years, one date. And it was a great date, and it was a great guy. I'm friends with him and his wife on Facebook. And it was, it wasn't meant to be. We were not in the same spot, and he would say the same thing. I know he would say that. We both had a lot of growing that we needed to do separately, and he found an awesome woman, and it's who he was meant to be with. So, but I only had one, just one, in all of college. And I look back, and I don't regret any of that. I needed that time to do that. And I had girlfriends, and so it was fine. I wasn't lonely. I'm still not lonely. I have friends, and I love my mom and my sister too, and I go and I do stuff, and I don't let being single be a hindrance. It's not a hindrance. It's just not. It's a season of life that's just different. But it is substantially harder, in my opinion, to even find someone to have a crush on when you are out of college. Especially, like, my circumstance, I don't know who knows and who doesn't know, but I am a nanny to 4 littles who are lovely and adorable. But it's a solo job. So it's me, 4 littles, a mom, and a dad. No one to have a crush on there. And then when you add that I'm in grad school, that's why I'm nannying right now. But I'm in grad school online. And so even when I go and I have my intensives for my class and there's other people there, typically the online crowd, men-wise, are married and or older, like 50s, right? Like, has been a preacher, has done some other career, and is now changing careers. That's typically the online crowd. And that's the same for the girls in the online crowd a lot of the time too. I'm usually one of the youngest, if not the youngest, in a lot of my online classes with Liberty. Sometimes there are people my age, but there are not tons of us. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, there's not, and even when, for those of y'all who've seen any of my other videos, you would know that I'm not actively involved in a church at the moment. Don't worry. I am still a Christian. I want to be. There are things I'm working through. The goal is to be that at some point. Again, there are other videos that you can go watch about that, but that's not what this one's about. But regardless, even when I was at a really big church. I was at the Village in Flower Mound. It's huge, and so I'm sure there probably were other singles. I had no idea how to find them. I couldn't have told you who they were, how to find them, much less how to flirt or date them. And I do know there was one, and he's cute. He did Little Village with me, but he never took interest, and so that was that, right? Like, I just assumed I wasn't his type, or he wasn't in that place, and so that was all. And I was focused on the babies, and we weren't even in the same little kid room, so I saw him for like 5 minutes a week during the group prayer time, so it's whatever. But that's the only one that I really knew the whole time that I was there. I was there for 2 years at that campus alone, and that's all. And before that, I was a youth minister in Nocona, and there aren't people my age in Nocona, typically. And if they are, they're usually married, actually. So yeah, so that was kind of my experience of all of that. And so now I'm in this weird place where there just are not even people available to have crushes on. Therefore, online dating, which is a weird experience. Again, I realized people don't know what this is about. They've not experienced this. Let me tell you the weirdness that it is. I started with eHarmony, and I did that for a little bit, and then I quit. And the first time was fine. But then I started eHarmony again within like the last year, and I don't know what's going on, but it's changed. Like, I'm getting matched with like 40-year-old men. I'm 27. I'm okay dating an older guy, but 40 is like a different stage of life. Like, that's just not the same. And that's just not something that I'm interested in necessarily. And so it's just been a very strange, or like people like in small towns or something, and I'm like, I am not a small town girl. I am not a country girl. I like the city. That's just, I don't like snakes, essentially. I'm not gonna live in the snake's house. I'll visit the country. I'm gonna come back to the city. And so that's just kind of where I'm at with all that. So I stopped that and I found Bumble. Well, Bumble is free. Yay for free. So I do Bumble. But in case you don't know, it is swipe left for no. That's probably backwards for y'all. Swipe right for yes. And if both of you swipe right, then you get matched. And when you're matched on Bumble, the girl has to talk first. And so that's always fun, trying to figure out, what do you say? Do you give a cheesy pickup line to make them laugh? Do you just say hi? How's your day? Do you mention something in their bio? Or sometimes they don't have bios, although I don't usually swipe right on those, if I'm honest, because I'm like, you want me to just think you're cute. And you may very well be cute, but let's not just rely on looks, guys. Come on. That's not how girls work, or that's not how this girl works. I guess I won't speak for all girls, but the ones I know typically want to know a little bit about you before entering into a conversation, because girls don't like to waste time. We just don't. So anyways, so you swipe right and then you get matched, and then the girl has to talk first, and it's this whole thing. It's a whole thing. And the best way I can describe online dating is kind of like a human grocery store. Yeah, like kind of, or maybe a mall that has different stores in it, and they're all different types, right? So you have the Abercrombie and Fitch section, you have the Dick's Sporting Goods section. Those are the ones that are like holding up the deer antlers with their fresh kill. I'm okay that you kill things. I don't necessarily want to see it. A fish is okay. I'm okay with the fish. I don't know. I still swipe right if I like the profile well enough, but it's not going to stop me. Now, the snakes are on the neck. Like, that needs to end. Well, you're done. Why? Why do you have a snake around your neck? Why are you petting a snake? Why are you near a snake? Anyways, I have a thing about snakes. I don't like snakes. But I guess if you're holding a snake, that means that maybe you would protect me from a snake. Maybe not the worst thing. Anyways, so there's a bunch of different types and stores and whatever, and you're just kind of walking in and out of stores as you're swiping and looking, and maybe no, swipe left, oh, swipe right, when you see this shiny pretty thing, or that bio that's so cute that, oh look, it's him with his nieces, which they are so fast to tell you it's not their kid. It's hysterical. I'm assuming it's not your kid unless you tell me it is your kid. Most people proudly say, right, that's my kid. And so it's just a strange shopping experience, and shopping for humans is just weird. If you really stop and think about that, we are shopping for humans, like a human mall. It's strange and kind of absurd, but what can happen is you can often lose sight of that there's a soul behind that picture that you're looking at. There's a soul in those eyes. And I think we lose sight of that sometimes. I know sometimes I do, and I'm just like swiping and swiping and swiping and swiping, and I forget that there's a soul behind those eyes. And so then we get into things like ghosting. It drives me crazy. Because ghosting, those of you who have not had the joy of this experience, is when you are talking to someone, and maybe for a day, maybe for 2 days, and it's like back and forth, and then all of a sudden, they don't answer you back. And you're going, oh, okay, they're busy. I mean, this person has a life, right? I have a life. I don't want you to get upset with me if I leave and go and hang out with my friend for the next 4 hours and don't answer you for 4 hours, and you're like, oh, where were you? We are not in a relationship like that yet either. And so it's like, okay, busy. 5 hours later, oh, they're busy still. A day later, oh, they could be busy. 2 days later, I've been ghosted. Right? Like, it's a terrible feeling, especially, I feel like women in particular, and I don't know if men do this because I'm not a man, but maybe they do, but your mind goes to all kinds of crazy places because you've not been given a reason as to what has happened, and so you go to, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't funny enough, I wasn't witty enough, what did I say wrong, what did I do wrong? I don't always do that. Sometimes I go, you're a jerk, and I move along. Or maybe I scared them because they really weren't ready for this, and they realized that too late. Who knows, right? But on a bad day, my mind goes weird, funky places and gets the best of me if I'm just really honest about it. And I think there's a lot of women whose minds would go those weird, funky places too. And so I hate ghosting. It is one of my pet peeves. But at that point, what are you gonna do? Tell them like, oh, you're so rude? Like, no. But I think that that's one of the ways that we lose sight that there's someone behind that picture on the screen. Because these are men, in my experience, I'm choosing men who say they are Christians. And so these are men who agree that I have a soul and that my heart should be protected and cherished, and yet are allowing me to go into these insecure places and to just ignore me. And for me, when someone ghosts, it just communicates a whole new level of my not feeling awkward was a higher priority to me than your feeling cared for and protected. Because I don't care what the reason is. It can be, like, even if it is that you were talking to someone else and you felt a deeper connection with them and decided to go with that. We weren't exclusive just from talking on Bumble, right? Like, we've not even been on a date yet, right? So, as awkward as that may be, it gives definition, it gives conclusion, and it just, communicating effectively and openly is such an awesome skill. It's such an awesome skill. And so as awkward as that may be, it stops the mind from wandering, at least. So ghosting is bad. Remember, there's a soul behind that screen. Remember that person is gonna go crazy maybe in their minds trying to figure out what just happened, especially if you've been talking for days on end and then all of a sudden they're just gone. They've just lost interest, which is a whole different thing. Like, I think that we lose interest so quickly today, myself included sometimes, if I'm honest, if it's whatever, not moving quickly enough. So, yes, ghosting is crazy. And also, giving out your number too soon. I would not recommend that. And too soon is different for everybody. That's obviously a gray area. For me, I typically wait a couple of days because I've had some experiences where someone thought it was appropriate, or just didn't care if it was appropriate, to send unsolicited images of their birthday suit, it's just one. I feel like you should ask permission before you send pictures like that. Like, even if you think those types of pictures are okay, which I personally am not having it, maybe ask if I want one, because I would have told you no and saved you a lot of embarrassment. And so I typically am pretty slow to give out my number for that reason. And it's so interesting, the responses. I get one of two responses every time. Okay, so response number one, okay, when I tell them that, yeah, this is why I don't give out my number, sorry, super soon, and they're like, well, I'm not that guy. I would never do that. I can't believe you're allowing this baggage. That's a horrible word to use with girls, guys. It's not a good word. You're letting this baggage come in and ruin what we can have. That's option number one. Option number two, that I've experienced a couple of times, but not nearly as many, is, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That is terrible. Of course, we will wait until you feel comfortable. You just let me know. right? Like, oh, you care for me, you want to protect me, you understand my feeling secure and comfortable means more to you than what you want right now in this moment. Let me just tell you, that tells me a bunch of things that I like. And there was one time that a guy said that to me, and I was like, you know what, I am ready. And he was like, what? And I was like, you just demonstrated patience and thoughtfulness, caring and protection, and those are all qualities I'm looking for, and I believe you that you won't send me pictures like that. I'm ready. And he was like, okay. And so that's just, it's just so interesting, the different nuances and different things that go into human shopping. So I don't know. So I'm sure I might have more stories and things as time progresses, because I'm going to keep my toes in the water. It's kind of my only venue for that at the moment. I don't love it, but it is kind of where I'm at. But you gotta be careful in the water, because there's jellyfish in the shallow end. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing and where I'm at with that. It's amusing and sometimes just kind of heartbreaking that people don't take other people into consideration. But either way, entertaining to some degree. So probably more stories to come with that as I keep my toes in the water and just kind of see what comes. I'm not really expecting anything necessarily to come or have my hopes super high, which is fine. Like, I've come to peace with the idea that singleness may be what God has planned for me. I don't know. I mean, I'm only 27, but who knows? I don't know what's to come. And I'm really okay with just about anything that comes, I think, at this point. I'm happy to say that. So, but I might keep my toe in the water, because that's still a desire that I have, and so I'm doing my part. I got my little toes in there, hoping they don't get bit off by a shark. But anyways, I hope that y'all are having a great Sunday and found this somewhat amusing. I don't know if anyone cares about this or not, but see you next time.